The big, the bad, and the ugly. With the release year of 2023, The Wolf Among Us 2 will be dropping soon. As a fan of this TellTale franchise, hopefully the game can hold up to the expectations and the quality the first game had set. A question that people who live under a rock or have only recently been exposed to the franchise may ask: why are people excited for this game when it's about fairy tales? Well, I'm here to answer that question. Hey everybody, I'm Demo Blaze, and in this video I'm going to be answering the question: why was TellTale's The Wolf Among Us such a good game? And how can TellTale reflect on what made this game so great into their second installment of the franchise? This video is going to be a retrospective of sorts, as we're going to be looking at how the episodes of the game, one by one, help the flow of the narrative. In the description below there will be some timecodes for each part of the video in case you want to replay or play a section or come back to the video whenever you need. Also, there'll be links to all my social media so then you can find out when I will be posting next. Originally released on October the 11th, 2013, TellTale released the first episode of The Wolf Among Us on Steam. It achieved a rating of overwhelmingly positive, which means it's not just me who thinks this game is a masterpiece. The Wolf Among Us source material is the Fable comics, which is a usual trend with TellTale as they don't usually make games from their own IPs. A little disclaimer: in my opinion, some of the cut content from this game would have put it on par with another TellTale game, The Walking Dead. However, in this video I won't go in too much detail into that, as there's another great YouTuber who has covered it. I'll link in Cold Blood's videos and channel in the description below if you'd like to look into it. However, even with the cut content, the game is still amazing, but maybe I haven't convinced you of that yet. So let's look at why this game is so good. If you've already played this game, tell me in the comments whether you thought it was good or bad, and why. We start the game by watching Bigby in a New York style taxi.
1% humidity is a lot more humid than, say, 73 with 31% humidity, and it is muggy out there.
And then, a few minutes later, we're introduced to characters such as Toad, Faith, and the Woodsman, who are pivotal to the story. Something interesting about this game is how it introduces and talks about the economy in Fabletown, such as how expensive glamour is. Glamour being a spell from witches, which allows the user to appear human. Toad talks about how expensive it is, especially for people who are trying to glam up their whole family.
Shit! Bigby! Listen, mate, I know I don't look human. It's a problem, I get it. I just stepped out the apartment for just a second to see what kind of damage this drunk shit is doing. Just cut me a break, yeah? I'll get me glamour first thing in the morning. Cross my heart. No need to kick up a fuss. Come on, Bigby. Say something. Oh, you're starting to scare me.
If you can't afford to look human, you're going to the farm. It's as simple as that.
You can't send me up to live with those animals. You know what I mean.
Go see a witch. Get a glamour.
Bigby, they're bleeding me dry, mate. The quality of the spout goes down, but the rates keep climbing up. Do you have any idea how much it costs to have an entire family in glamour?
Now, after an altercation with the Woodsman, you get to talk to Faith, who'll be a person of interest throughout the story. And through this short interaction with her, you can kind of understand that she may be part of the adult industry, or anything of that line of work, where she has a pimp / boss who is telling her to get money from the Woodsman. Later on, this will be important as you find out the Woodsman uses these services. You'd think that people that come from fairy tales wouldn't need to go into the adult industry. However, you'd be wrong, because as you learn later on, a lot of people go into that career choice in this game. And I think this reflects on our own current state of economy, as people are going into menial jobs, even though they may be of higher status or higher education. They still may have to go into minimum wage jobs such as retail or adult stuff to get by. Relating this to current times, currently in the UK we are going through an energy crisis because of the cost of everyday things is going up, and for millions of people across the UK this includes things such as heating homes or putting the lights on. There are several factors which play into this, but the main one is that we source our oil from other places, and the world is going through a crisis of its own, and it has led the British population to pay for it. Similar to the game's glamour, right now the economy, there's a lot of inflation. Inflation is when there's a change in the value of products, meaning they cost more. It also means what people have earned or saved has less value, because with the prices going up, it's more expensive to buy items such as food. For a game released back in 2013, we can sympathize with the struggles of the characters, such as Toad, who are trying their best to make ends meet. There are quite a few instances throughout the game, such as Beauty and the Beast doing jobs which they wouldn't normally do, just to sustain their lifestyle. And this intrigues me, as you know, Beauty and the Beast, that is a big story, well known, even done by Disney themselves. I was surprised when I saw this in the game, and this kind of idea in the game being shown, that capitalism has really got a chokehold on these people. Well, who would guess? Capitalism gets everyone, I guess. Well, this brings me to my next. Each character has their motivations, such as Big B wanting to do the best by Snow. Maybe because he wants her to be his love interest? Or Crane, who is fueled by the fantasy of saving Snow White and had constructed this whole fantasy with an adult worker to make this a reality. You know, there's Toad, who wants to do the best by his family but is getting pressed by, you know, people like Snow or Crane to try and get glamour. There's the woodsman, and then there's Holly the bartender, and all these different people. Right, but going back onto Crane.
How many years?
What?
How many years has this been going on?
Too many. But I didn't kill those women, Bigby. Please, I had nothing to do with that. Oh, God.
We found the photos of you and Lily.
I know. I just love you, Snow. I love you, and I'm sorry I'm not Prince Charming, okay? I'm sorry I didn't cheat on you and run away to Europe.
You don't love me, Crane. I know what this is. I've seen it before. It is not love.
The type of behavior that is shown is frowned upon in our own society, as this is a form of role-playing, but it's more like obsession, where people who feel as if they can't get with a certain person or be intimate with them have created a whole fantasy where they are with them. Evidently, in the game, this type of behavior is also frowned upon, because who wouldn't find it weird that a random person is fantasizing to be with you? I mean, go ask some OnlyFans creators. They get fantasized over all the time. But I guess you have to ask the people who work in the adult industry this question, especially as things such as OnlyFans have become so prominent in our society. Well, as you're no longer required to take pictures and videos of yourself professionally through agencies, you can do it from the own comfort of your home, by your own rules. That's what OnlyFans allows you to do. But personally, I do not shame anyone that goes down this route. However, I wouldn't do it myself, and I'm not promoting anyone to choose this career route. I just find it interesting how people can be consumed by their own bodily desires, and that an industry can be made from it. Goes to show, with the internet, anyone can make money. You've just got to put your pride aside to do so. Every character in the game has a fleshed out personality, and you can guess throughout the game what they would do. The looming villain of the story is the Crooked Man. Now, the Crooked Man, yes, he is the villain, but just like Thanos,
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
feels they are the only ones who can help the community. Even though he controls the general economy in Fabletown, a lot of people could find justifications for why the Crooked Man does the things that he does, such as hiring people like Georgie and the Tweedle twins to do the dirty work for him while he controls the shadow economy. This may be a hot take, but I generally enjoyed the Crooked Man's character, as even though he's not an abled person like Bigby, he still strikes fear into the hearts of the people by the sheer mention of his name. As a character, he's not even a direct foil of Bigby, as Bigby strikes fear into people's hearts by using his unorthodox ways. The only main difference that differentiates Bigby from the Crooked Man is that Bigby's intentions are pure. Well, I mean, we'll discuss that in a different video. But other characters in the game, such as Snow White, are just nice. Even though throughout the story she battles with people undermining her authority and demeaning her, I felt like Snow's participation in the story was quite minimal. And I believe in the content of the game, we were meant to also play as Cinderella, who is a spy, which would have been a great driver of the story. In Cold Blood goes further into this, but while we're on the topic of TellTale cutting content out of the game, the police. The police content was probably the most missed opportunity, as some of the story's plots did not make sense. Like Bigby will climb onto cars and break cars and there'll be no police response. And it's meant to be set in New York, so you'd think police would be everywhere. But when there's a decapitated head on the porch of the Woodlands, it's a whole crime scene. Surely if they can respond to that, there would be police everywhere in the game. Well, that's how they planned it to be, but they cut that content out. So overall, you can see that they play with different social stratas in the game and how they're turned on their heads. You know, the people who are aristocrats in their past life have been removed and stripped of that title. Obviously, there's characters mentioned in the game like Old King Cole, who we never see, but apparently is the mayor of Fabletown, even though they're in New York, so wouldn't the mayor of New York be the mayor? But I guess they use different rules. Well, to conclude, I think the game is pretty good. And I do still think that it's an excellent game, but there are things that could be worked on for the next game, such as the development of characters such as Snow White, where she has all this motivation, all this determination to prove people wrong, that she can take hold of positions of power, but then just passes it on to the main character. Bigby passes it on to basically you, the player character, who has to make the final decisions in the end. I just think that whole ending sequence was a bit rushed, and they could have done a lot better. I like how they played with social economic structures and social strata, all these different things that we'll go on to talk about in different videos. But I wanted to use this video, especially as this is my first video, as just an entry point to show everyone what kind of content you'll be expecting, and just to do social commentary on the games that I love, that I grew up with throughout my childhood. And to answer the question, what could The Walking Dead 2 do better, is basically develop the characters a bit more. You know, the plot is amazing, and you know, the concepts behind The Wolf Among Us are great, but you know, when you obviously allude to characters such as the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, you know, the whole Wizard of Oz people, there's deeper things that lie beneath their characters. But we can talk about that when the game comes out eventually. Well, if you liked this video, please leave a like and leave a comment on why you thought the game was good or bad. I would love to read them and reply to as many comments as I can. And please subscribe if you would like more content like this. Hopefully for the next video, I can do a video on why The Walking Dead Season 1 was so amazing. And that video will be a lot longer and a lot more in depth than this one. But yeah, look at all the links down below for my social medias if you'd like to be notified on when I post next. So, till next time, goodbye.